Hi, my name is Kate Barnes. I'm a senior sales executive here at Rentals United. I've been with Rentals United for nearly 8 years, working with property managers across Canada, and the US. Over the years, I've had the chance to support partners at every stage, and it's been incredibly rewarding to help them unlock new opportunities, especially through premium distribution channels like Marriott Homes and Villas. At Rentals United, we're committed to helping property managers not only drive bookings, but also deliver memorable guest experiences. And in collaboration with Marriott, we're excited to show how that combination leads to true five-star results. I'm thrilled to be joined today by Madison from the account management team at Marriott Homes and Villas, and I'll let her introduce herself. So over to you.
Thanks, Kate. Very excited to be here today. And hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Madison McHugh, and I'm a part of the account management team here at Homes and Villas by Marriott Bonvoy, also known as HVMB. I joined the HVMB team in July of 2024 after spending 9 years in revenue management and channel distribution at one of the largest home management companies in the US. As a former partner of Homes and Villas, I'm excited to now be on this side of the table, leveraging my experience to support our partners and help drive continued success for both your business and ours. As many of you know, Marriott brings nearly 100 years of hospitality experience, and with that comes a deep commitment to exceptional guest service. We're always looking for new ways to elevate the Marriott Bonvoy guest experience, ensuring that all stays, no matter the destination or type of accommodation, feels consistent, memorable, and five-star. Today, we're excited to share how that standard translates into the Homes and Villas program with our presentation, Delivering Five-Star Service with Homes and Villas and Rentals United. Awesome. So we'd like to begin with highlighting our guest. Meet our Marriott loyal traveler. Over 90% of Homes and Villas reservations are made by this group of Marriott loyal guests. Their demographics represent well-educated, high earners who have families and own their own homes. Marriott Bonvoy guests have a desire for meaningful, premium, and luxury travel experiences with exceptional guest service. They usually take longer trips, and they're accustomed to paying a bit more for these stays in order for them to earn and redeem Marriott Bonvoy points. So let's take a quick poll. Do you know how many members worldwide are a part of the Marriott loyalty program? All right, on to the next one. If you guessed 228 million, you are correct. I'd probably even take 220 million. This number continues to grow, and Homes and Villas has put much effort and time into analyzing feedback and data to understand guest behavior, identify trends, and work with our partners on solutions for improvement. Most of the content that we'll share today comes from the wealth of data and the process that we utilize to collect it and create solutions with our partners for our mutual guests. Here are some key figures and data points from Marriott and Homes and Villas. So Marriott Bonvoy is now at 228 million members, as I said, and our loyalty program reached an important milestone when we surpassed 200 million members. This reflecting our program's popularity and global reach. We continue to expand our travel offers and benefits with a vast portfolio of brands and experiences, just like Homes and Villas. Homes and Villas currently has a live inventory that expands over 12,000 cities across the globe, with roughly 180,000 curated properties live. And to put this in perspective, we started this journey just back in 2019 with just 2,000 homes. So we've grown a lot. And all of that inventory comes from a select 1,400 property management companies that we partner with in over 70 countries. The wealth of data we collect in conjunction with our partners has granted us the capacity to do market-based analysis and identify country and city trends, helping us better understand how different expectations vary from location to location. And finally, since our launch of our partnership with Medallia Guest Research, we've received a total of 33,000 guest surveys. And most of the content that we'll cover today is based on the last 2 years of data.
So quickly about Rentals United, just a quick intro. We're a growth-driven channel manager that's built to help property managers do three key things: maximize revenue, expand their reach, and optimize distribution across all the major OTAs. What's important to know is that we do this without hidden fees or limitations. You stay in control of your strategy, your pricing, your portfolio. So whether you're looking to improve visibility, fill gaps in occupancy, or tap into new guest segments, Rentals United gives you the tech and the reach to get there. And to look at our growth in numbers, in 2024, Rentals United helped generate $1.6 billion in revenue for our clients, an increase of 29% over the year. We've now connected over 240,000 properties worldwide, which gives us a strong global footprint and the capability to support both regional and enterprise level growth. And thanks to our optimized distribution and performance tools, we saw 1.6 million bookings last year, which reflects a 27% increase in customer bookings.
That's great. Thank you, Kate.
Yeah.
So on to our next question. How does Marriott keep these well-traveled guests engaged and loyal so they return to our Marriott brands over and over again? At Homes and Villas, we collect data by sending surveys to each guest 24 hours after their checkout, soliciting the feedback on their stay. This survey contains a question that HVMB feels is our key performance indicator, and that is, how likely are you to recommend this home rental experience to a friend or a business associate? This is what we measure as our intent to recommend score. You'll also hear me refer to it as our ITR score. So if a guest is recommending another guest to use Homes and Villas or return themselves, then we are further winning in this space. And when we talk about ITR, we set the bar very high because we don't want guests to just recommend us. We want them to recommend us enthusiastically. So we're hard on ourselves. We have these well-seasoned travelers that expect a seamless experience. And this is why we only consider 9s and 10s as winning when we're calculating a property manager's intent to recommend score. A strong ITR score not only reflects guest satisfaction with their stay, but also indicates guest loyalty by showing if the guest will return or if they'll recommend for a future stay. And consistency is really everything when it comes to building loyalty in your brand. At Marriott, we believe that a strong ITR leads to repeat stays, which leads to more recommendations and ultimately new bookings, which we know is vital for continued growth. All right, and here we have a visual to help us highlight why we only consider 9s and 10s as successful ratings. So at the bottom, you have your 1 through 6, and we consider these detractors. These guests most likely had something go wrong during their stay. Their overall experience was negative, and they're most likely to talk poorly about their stay once they return home. Then we have 7 and 8s, which we consider passives. This just represents 19% of our overall reviews. And they may have had a good time, but nothing stood out to make their stay super memorable or exceed their expectations. They may recommend you if asked, but they are not likely to actively or positively promote their stay experience once they return home. And then finally, we have our 9s and 10s. And this represents the largest portion of our guest feedback. These are the ones who are going to actively promote you. These are the guests that are going to return themselves or recommend you for a future stay. So the question is, how do we achieve these 9s and 10s scores? And that brings us to the next slide, this is what we refer to as our quick 8. And we consider this the roadmap to the perfect stay, based on all the feedback that we received and analyzed from Marriott Bonvoy guests. These 8 points, when embedded into your company culture, will yield significantly higher ITR scores. So let's start with transparent listing accuracy. This really sets the tone for the whole guest stay. And when collecting guest feedback, you will undoubtedly uncover pain points. Some of these might be out of your control. And this would be examples of like road construction, slow elevators, neighborhood noise levels, and more. But it's great to proactively educate your guests with transparent listing descriptions and an honest pre-arrival communication. This will level set their expectations prior to arrival, because we know in short-term rentals, guest satisfaction is closely tied to guest education and setting the tone for the experience. Next is our strong pre-arrival. It's important to train your team to gather relevant information about the guest during the reservation process. Ask about why they're coming. Is there a special occasion? Do they have dietary preferences? Do they have room preferences or any specific requests they may have for their stay? This will provide you with golden nuggets of information that you can use to achieve personalized experiences, which if you understand what a guest wants and you act on it, you're ahead of the game. A congratulations for a birthday or an anniversary celebration could be included in your welcome message, and it's a simple way to begin to earn the guest's loyalty and provide a personalized experience. Number 4, a warm and genuine check-in. So we know that face-to-face check-ins is not standard or always possible in vacation rentals, but we can ensure that you're proactively reaching out to guests shortly after arrival with either a courtesy call or a welcome message. This message should be warm and welcoming. It should be personalized based on the information that you've collected thus far. And next is 5, showing interest. Proactively ask about their plans during their stay and provide personalized recommendations for local attractions, dining options, and activities based on their feedback and interests. We know that you guys and your local teams have the best recommendations that they can receive, and they're looking for it. 6, anticipate their needs. So use that post-arrival courtesy call to anticipate some needs, and especially based on your most frequently asked questions. So providing instructions to connect to Wi-Fi, thermostat instructions, or anything else they might need to know about the home or the area. 7, be attentive and show empathy. When speaking to guests, listen and understand them. It's important that guests feel like you're truly listening. So it's important to be present in the moment. Encourage the guests to talk about themselves and their interests. Again, this gives you a lot of information that you can use to personalize the experience and tailor it just for them. Pay attention to what the guest is saying and repeat back important details to show that you're actively engaged. If something is going wrong during their stay, express empathy for the situation and reassure them that you're there to help. And finally, number 8, one of my favorites. Express gratitude. It's important for all guests to feel important. Let them know that you value their business. You can do this by acknowledging if they're a new guest, a return guest, or if they're a Marriott Bonvoy member, you can do this by mentioning their member status. It's important to never take any guest for granted. If a guest feels taken for granted, it is likely that they will take their business elsewhere in the future. So expressing gratitude is a simple yet impactful way to leave a positive impression on guests. Now, I know that's a lot, and it's difficult to hit all of these points with every guest. But if you can nail about 80% of these points, we know you will see a great improvement in your overall reviews and your ITR score. But to be truly guest-driven, this should all be embedded into your company culture. All right, let's look at feedback collected by HVMV's Medallia Guest Response Program. And this is for a property manager who lists on homes and villas and is connected through Rentals United. This property manager joined us back in the middle of 2023, and they've been laser focused on guest feedback and ITR scores from the beginning of the partnership, with a goal for continuous improvement. And this showed. In 2025, they saw a 30% increase in their score. We had some amazing comments and feedback from our guests. A few things that this property manager does to ensure their focus on guest experience. They're at their core, they're providing personalized assistance to each guest, ensuring that they've helped find the perfect island retreat and enjoy an unforgettable vacation experience. Their portfolio encompasses a range of accommodations, from cozy one bedrooms to expansive luxury villas, noting that no matter the type of inventory, if you're committed to the guest experience, they will have a great time. They are committed to supporting their guests through the planning process and during the stay, even to the point where they're providing vital necessities to their guests, like beach chairs, coolers, and towels, knowing that that's imperative to the guest experience. They also offer concierge service. They'll arrange a massage therapist in your villa or even customize a trip around the island. From our standpoint, they're great partners and they provide great and swift communication. They're always looking to expand, like many partners, but quality is at the top of their priority. And they leverage our partnership with Homes and Villas to obtain new and more homeowner contracts. And this is something that we hear from a lot of our partners. We've been working with guest feedback. Sorry, if you want to go back one. We've been working with guest feedback with them since the day that we launched to make sure that every comment is being considered to ensure the guest experience continues to get better and better. And we see this reflected in the guest comments that you'll see on your screen. Here's what some of them had to say about their stay. Property managers respond to every question and request immediately. So if we go back to the quick 8 that we covered, this aligns with being attentive to the guest's needs. We also hear that they're super responsive and helpful, indicating that they're showing interest, like number 5 from the quick 8. We also heard that communication prior, during, and at the end of stay was perfect, which goes back to number 2, a strong pre-arrival communication. And finally, most accurate home rental in ages, which is great to hear and reflects the transparency in their listing accuracy. This is the type of service and experience that our Marriott Bonvoy members are looking for when they stay in your homes. So we know achieving 9 and 10 scores are possible, but it's important to get back to the basics and follow a program like the Quick 8. So this takes us to our next question. Do you have a process in place for measuring and prioritizing the guest experience? We'd love to hear from you in the chat. Feel free to drop some of the measurings and prioritization that you guys are doing. And let's talk about how we use this data and feedback, or how you can use this data and feedback that you collect from your guest. So when you're analyzing the data, you will determine where problem areas exist and categorize them into common themes or issues. These will be your pain points. And this slide illustrates some common feedback from guests. Some issues you'll find are in your control. It's important to anticipate and remedy these to eliminate repeat occurrences. Some issues will be out of your control, but if you can do your best to anticipate these and communicate expectations with the guest, you'll start off in a great spot. And one of the most common themes that we receive in guest feedback is this idea that there's a discrepancy between the pictures and the reality upon arrival. So again, this takes us back to the idea that success in STRs is really tied to setting the right guest expectation and educating them prior to arrival. So we have some recommendations on how you might be able to do that. We recommend an ongoing review of your inventory, updating listing descriptions, and very smoothly mentioning wear and tear. Having updated professionally taken photos that represent the property accurately as it is now. And finally, implement preventative maintenance plans to include home inspections and ensure that you're cross-referencing the current photos and the listing descriptions to ensure it reflects the current condition of the home and adjusting where needed. And again, this goes back to the quick 8 first principle of transparent listing accuracy. So this is an example of a property manager's brand audit measuring services pulled from the quick 8. What this property manager did was review all of their guest feedback and identified some pain points and opportunities for improvement. Using a similar audit will help you continuously focus and focus on measurement of identified issues to train your staff to overcome these and embed these new processes into your service culture. At Marriott, we have a saying embedded in our culture: what gets measured gets done. And this is a great way to measure and implement changes for improvement in guest satisfaction. All right, another question. Does your team use guest data or feedback to implement process changes in your day-to-day operation that will positively impact guest satisfaction? Using a brand audit or a similar process helps keep your team focused on the guest experience, because inevitably things will go wrong. It happens in our industry, and it's important that when they do, you use the LEARN model. This is Marriott's acronym for our service recovery model, and it's used in all Marriott International brands. So it starts with L, listen. Listen without interruption. Listening to the guest concerns fully helps in understanding their perspective. E, empathize. Acknowledge the guest's feelings and show that you care about their experience. A, apologize for any inconvenience or frustration they have experienced, and make sure you're sincere in that apology. R, respond. Take action to address the guest's concern. Your action may be resolving that issue, or it may look like providing additional information to the guests or taking steps to prevent a similar situation from happening in the future. N, notify. Keep the guests informed if the resolution is ongoing. And remember that transparency is the key to building trust. We find that in addition to this, empower your staff to make decisions that benefit the customer without always needing approval. This fosters a culture of proactive service. Part of Marriott's culture teaches associates to always put yourself in the guest's shoes. It has done wonders for our guest service delivery, intent to return scores, and created a fierce loyalty for our brand. Marriott has this training ingrained in all guest-facing roles, and it does work. So don't forget to learn.
Awesome. That's such great piece of advice there. But following on from that, even the best guests can make mistake and accidents can happen. But the key question is, are you prepared to handle these situations without disrupting the guest experience or your business? Because here's the challenge. To deliver a true five-star service, you need more than just great hospitality. You need to be proactive, protected, and ready to act fast when the unexpected occurs. And that's where Rentals United comes in with a solution designed specifically for property managers who want to safeguard their homes without compromising on guest experience. So I'm going to present to you a nightmare scenario. You've just received a call from a guest. While playing with their kids, a ball went astray and a large window is now shattered. It was an accident, of course, but now you're faced with a costly repair and guests who feel terrible. We've all heard these stories, or maybe you've even experienced them. And the reality is accidents do happen. And traditional solutions, they can often fall short. Security deposits can create friction with guests, hold up funds, and can still leave you out of pocket. Damage policies, they often have complex claim processes with frustrating deductibles and limitations. Um, Even having the best insurance doesn't guarantee that you'll get everything covered right away. Yeah, thanks. So let's talk about what typically happens when something goes wrong. A guest damages your property and you need to recover quickly. Traditionally, we have two main options, deposits and insurance. So first, deposits. For larger or luxury properties, they can range from 500 to over or well over $2,000. And while they offer a layer of protection, they can also deter guests from booking altogether. Plus, managing deposits mean clearly defining damage policies, handling disputes, and returning funds on time, which can often lead to friction and even negative reviews. Then there's traditional insurance. Claims can take weeks or even months to process, which can block you from accepting new bookings while you wait for reimbursement. And most insurance options don't include guest screening, meaning the responsibility to vet guests still falls entirely on you. So while some of these options offer some protection, they can also come with delays, complexity, and guest dissatisfaction. So now we'll explore how Rentals United Screen and Protect gives you a faster, simpler, and more guest-friendly way to handle these risks. So Screen and Protect complements your existing insurance, filling in the gaps that traditional policies often lead. It also adds a layer of security by pre-screening your guests based on their past bookings made on OTAs. Also, by eliminating the need for security deposits, you remove a major point of friction with guests, and they ultimately appreciate the trust, and it can lead to higher booking conversions and better reviews. For smooth reservation management, you can check and control screening statuses for all the reservations right within your Rentals United account. So that wraps up our main part of our presentation, and now we'd love to hear from you. Um, if you haven't already, feel free to drop any questions in the chat. We're happy to dive deeper into anything we've covered today, whether it's about connecting to Marriott Bonvoy, maximizing bookings with Rentals United, or how to deliver a five-star service. So I'm not sure if we've got anything in the chat. Not at the moment, which is fine. If you guys don't need some time to think or prepare any questions, we can take a moment to address a couple common ones that both Marriott and Rentals United do get. So Madison, I don't know if you want to go with the ones first for about Marriott Bonvoy.
Of course. Yeah, happy to.
Nice.
So one of the most frequently asked questions is, what's the average lead time for bookings on HVMB and compared to other OTAs? On average, HVMB sees a longer lead time compared to traditional OTAs. While other OTAs often receive bookings just days or weeks in advance, HVMB guests tend to book several weeks or months ahead, particularly for premium or seasonal stays. And this reflects HVMB's focus on a higher end, more intentional, and often tied to holidays or planned getaways.
Sense.
Yeah. And then another question that we get a lot are, what are the main requirements to get listed on Homes and Villas through Rentals United? So to get listed on HVMB through Rentals United, there are a few key requirements to keep in mind. We require a high quality property. Homes and Villas is very selective about the properties that we list. Your property should meet high standards of quality, including well-maintained interiors, modern amenities, and a strong focus on guest experience. We also recommend professional photography because in order to be listed on HVMB, we do require professional quality images to ensure that it aligns with Marriott's brand standards. We also require legal and compliance standards, so your property must meet local regulations, including safety standards and insurance requirements. The property type also matters. So the platform is primarily focused on luxury vacation homes, villas, and unique properties with premium experiences. And finally, operational standards. So we went over a lot of what we expect from a service perspective and what our guests expect. And so Marriott values this consistent and reliable operations and ensuring timely responses, clean properties, and excellent customer service. If your property meets these requirements and you're interested in getting listed through Rentals United, they can help facilitate the process to ensure a smooth integration with homes and villas.
Amazing. That's awesome. Um, I've got two frequently asked questions, or probably the two main questions that are always asked about Screen and Protect. So the first one is, will Screen and Protect impact my bookings? Yes, but for the better. So, property managers often feel the need to ask for large security deposits or implement strict cancellation policies. However, these measures can deter potential bookings. So, by removing these barriers, you're likely to see an increase in reservations. Additionally, guests appreciate knowing that any accidental breakages will be covered. So, by promoting that your property is fully protected, research has indicated you're likely to experience a boost in bookings. And I do definitely, as from a guest point of view, when I'm booking, I think knowing that there's something in place that if you happen to break a wine glass, you're not going to be charged like $100 for it. And then the other most frequently asked question is who pays for Screen and Protect, me or my guests? So the guests will pay for Screen and Protect. So it's a small nightly fee, which property managers can adjust their nightly rates to accommodate. And research shows that this small increase in nightly rates won't negatively impact bookings. And in fact, we've often seen an overall increase in bookings. And again, it's likely due to the increased attractiveness of the property, the lack of a security deposit, and the reassurance that their reservation is protected if any accidental or any damages occur. So those are our frequently asked questions. Just going to check in the chat. Okay, I see a question. What is the platform's commission? Are there any additional costs involved? The platform, I guess, either being Rentals United or Marriott. Um, so from Rentals United, how we work is a flat fee subscription model. So we don't charge a commission, but we charge based on the number of listings, and it's charged on a monthly base. And then Madison, I think maybe if you give some information about the commission that Marriott charges.
Yeah, of course. So we can discuss this further too in the onboarding process if you're not already connected and want to be. But the commission at HVMB is a sliding scale based off ADR, but the average is around 15%. And there is a 3% payment fee for all bookings.
Nice. Well, if I don't know if there's any other questions, if anyone's being has got anything there. Obviously, if questions pop up afterwards, both Madison and myself are always available to answer those questions. Um, but have we got anything else? No more questions? Okay, cool. So anyway, I really hope that our recommendations have been useful in showing how important it is to collect and measure guest feedback, identify trends, define an ideal guest journey, and recover when service issues come up. Again, if you're connected to Rental United, as Madison says, you can seamlessly connect to Marriott Homes and Villas as an additional distribution channel. Feel free to scan the QR code here to connect with us. Reach out to your Marriott team or your Rentals United rep to learn more about Marriott Homes and Villas onboarding process. But I'd like to thank everyone for attending today, and also thank you to Madison and Marriott Bonvoy for their hospitality, partnership, and collaboration.
Same to you, Kate, and thank you everyone for joining.